Alright, welcome back to Star Ocean Anamnesis. So, today we got the update of Opera and Dark Albel, so let's take a look at it, shall we? So, first of all, we have the new Maze of Curses, which this one has returned a couple times already, I think. Regardless, enemies can inflict you with Curse, which is a status effect that can deal a lot of damage over time, but if you want to pass these mazes, just bring a defender of any kind and you should be fine, and as well as the new character Opera, she's actually really good for these maze battles. And then we have Budding Ties on the Planet of Blossoms, Misery 2 and 3. So the Dodo now has a Misery 3, which means we can kill him even more times. So of course, new currency with some extra stuff in the item shop. Furry tails are in this shop, which means you can finally max limit break that thing. It's a pretty decent accessory. And speaking of accessories, the new accessory is the Blossom Embossed Armor Plate. So it gives you anti-flinch while you're charge assaulting and reduces the damage you take by 10% while you're attacking. It's not a bad accessory overall, like all things considered. It's decent for Cherry Blossom Maria, and I think for Cat Reina as well, just mostly characters that can nullify crits while you're charge assaulting, because, most of the time if you're charge assaulting, you definitely don't want to get hit, because that crit is going to do a lot of damage on Misery 3 and up. But it does pair very well with, characters like Blossom Maria, although there is better stuff for them in the, out of all the accessories that we have, so I wouldn't exactly say this one is that necessary. It could come in handy for the mazes though. So of course, event achievements, get some 40 HP star seeds. That is very much appreciated, although I could go for some attack seeds. Then again, the HP star seeds are the one that you need the most of. So titles, Swift Hunter, Rapid Hunter, pretty cool. So we have the Crown Dodo. Oh man, this thing is apparently really tough. Still weak to fire, it's a bird enemy. But, yeah, that one might be really tough, because even the Misery 1 was already very difficult. So I can only imagine Misery 2 and 3, and I actually did the Misery 3 in JP. He's still quite difficult on that. And then we have the new event, Love Across the Stars. So this introduces Opera and Dark Albel, and it runs until July 1st. And if I had to take a guess, I'd say that's when our anniversary will begin, as well as the summer event. So for this event, we of course have a shop with some cool stuff. But first, we have the event weapons. So we have Kaleidoscope, first of all, and that's actually a new weapon type, the rifle, which was introduced with this event. So the Kaleidoscope increases electric shockwave damage by 20%, gives you HP plus 10%, and increases lightning and dark damage by 10% as well. So this thing is not too bad, especially not if you're going to run Opera, considering that the rifles that we currently have in the exchange shop aren't that great. They're just the standard single target damage and attack plus 15% rifles. So overall, I would just hang on to this, even if you're not going to run Opera. The lightning damage and dark damage could come in handy, who knows. So then we have the Red Punisher Blade, a great sword which increases unbridled air / rage by 20% damage, gives you damage dealt to demons plus 10%, and gives you 5% HP recovery every 3 seconds at 100 hits or more. I would transmute this into Durandal, considering that the lifesteal that Durandal has is way too valuable to pass up on, and this thing doesn't really have anything going for it other than increasing unbridled air / damage and giving you that HP recovery, but lifesteal is a lot better. So the accessory that we have is the Red War Belt, which gives you no flinching at 100 hits or more when you're taking damage of 20% HP or less, and gives you critical hit chance plus 15% at 150 hits or more. I don't think this accessory is that great. 100 hits is not that difficult to get, but then again, most defenders, actually every single defender has anti-flinch of 20% HP or less at the very least, I think. And 150 hits, that's a bit more difficult to get, and it only gives you critical hit chance plus 15%. You might as well run Charm of Insight, which has that 15% crit chance, but it also has crit damage built into it, so I wouldn't really recommend running this thing. So, like I said, the shop has a large limit breaker, AP stars. I'm really liking the increase in large limit breakers that we've been getting recently. Pretty cool. Allows you to save up a lot more stuff. So our boss is the Shrouded Gaze, which is a demon type boss, and it's weak to lightning. Lightning is a very powerful element. A lot of different weapon types have a lightning imbued weapon, and the demon, that I'm pretty sure we have a lot of weapons that also increase damage to demons, so a lot of different characters like Awakened Maria is gonna have a field day with this thing if she's running the Divine Wave Gun. Oh boy. To be Nah, 2B doesn't have a... she needs to be running Blau Blitz. Well, regardless, this should be a very easy boss, especially with the new character, Opera. She's pretty powerful. And speaking of the new weapon, the rifle, they actually have a campaign for this. So first up, they have a new limited item set in the shop for 10,000 gems. It contains all of this stuff. Honestly, I wouldn't buy it, because it's not that different from the other 10,000 gem item sets that we usually get, except this one has 2 rifle exchange coins. That's pretty amazing. So I would just skip out on this. Don't buy it. It's not worth it. Level up campaign, of course, you know, that exists. Never works, but, you know, it's there. So we also have some new weapons, and this is actually pretty interesting, because this thing is a lightning greatsword, and, you know, if you recall, like a month ago, we got a lightning greatsword, and it's already outclassed, but we'll get to that in a second. So our first weapon is the pulse rifle, which imbues your attacks with lightning, gives you AP recovery speed plus 50%, and you unlock a 70-20 guts when this thing is at limit break 5, I think. Yes, limit break 5. So, of course, if you're going to run Opera or any of the future rifle characters, make sure you pick this up. Very powerful with the lightning imbuement, and you can see the attack stat and int stat. They're sitting at 1100. That's the new level of attack stats that we have. It goes up to about 1200 when we get the Season 2 weapons, but for now 1100 is very nice. AP recovery speed, also good for ranged characters, so overall, very good rifle. Highly recommend you pick it up. And then we have Jetstream Sam's Sword, which imbues your attacks with lightning, increases damage dealt to demons by 15%, gives you anti-flinch while you're attacking, and increases rush mode damage by 15% at 100 hits or more, at max limit break, of course. And then it also has that 1100 attack stat. So, the greatsword that we got previously with the lightning imbuement was the Bahamut Tear, which has a huge 900 attack stat, I think. Yeah, 900 attack stat. So it does pretty much the same thing, except this one is better because it has 200 more attacks. So if you roll for Bahamut Tear, technically you don't really need to do this, but seeing as how the guaranteed pull is only 3,000, you don't really have a reason not to try for this. And if you don't get it, you still have Bahamut Tear to fall back on. So even if you already have Bahamut Tear, I would still recommend rolling for this. And if you're worried about this thing getting outclassed anytime soon, the next Lightning Greatsword is still a ways away, so you can actually pull for this without having to worry too much about that. And then we have the Grand Encyclopedia of Demonology, which increases damage dealt to demons by 40%, reduces AP cost by 10%, and increases single target damage by 15%. And it's also got an int stat of 1100. So this thing is actually a lot better than most of the other tomes that we have if you're battling against demon bosses. But because of that limited scope of usefulness, I wouldn't recommend pulling for this specifically, but if you do happen to get it, it could come in handy when you're fighting demon bosses. So overall, this is not a bad weapon gacha, and I'm actually going to do a pull on this to try and get the Red Moon Thunderblade, or Jetstream Sam's Sword. Pulse Rifle, I don't really have a use for that, nor do I have a use for this thing, but I do want that sword. And then for the new characters, we have Opera. First of all, she increases damage by 40% for everybody and by 60% for everyone standing at long range, increases defense by 15% for everybody standing at close range, and increases the chance of causing stun for everyone standing at long range. She also gives herself anti-flinch and damage reduction of 40% while she is attacking. And then her last talent reduces her AP cost by 30% and increases her attack damage by 40% both when they're at skill chain 3 or more. And her Rush Hyper Launcher has a 4000% multiplier, and it increases critical hit chance and damage both by 30% for the entire party. And then being a rifle user, she has some new attacks up her sleeve. Tracking Plasma, first of all, which is kind of a vertical attack. Gravitational Sphere, which is the gravity bullet. Dispersion Ray, which is a jumping attack. And Electric Shockwave, which is a lightning beam attack. And you can see that they have good hit counts to them as expected of a sharpshooter. And then, of course, Dispersion Ray and Electric Shockwave are her main DPS attacks with some high multipliers to them. So first of all, you can see that 2 of her talents apply to long-range characters only. She has that 60% damage buff, which that actually rivals Blossom Diaz's 60% damage buff, except it's only for long-range characters. And then she has that chance of causing stun, 15%, which is also incredibly good if you've ever played as Phase Erotic. Defense plus 15%, that has its uses. It does increase bulk of close range characters, especially defenders. They usually don't have defense ups, I don't think. And a flat 40% damage for every character, that of course rivals you, Sophia, Vampire Victor, very good. And then her third talent, that one is kind of special because it gives her anti-flinch while she's attacking and reduces the damage that she takes by a huge 40%. So pretty much she can tank through like every single attack, and as long as you have a healer, you can just heal her right back up. Very good. And then of course Blazing Passion, that increases her damage output when she's at skill chain 3 or more. So overall, Opera is actually very nice. She unfortunately only has a 2500 attack stat, which isn't great, but she does have some very good battle skills, and paired with that fourth talent, her damage output shouldn't be too bad. And then of course her range damage buffing is also incredibly good. So I would say that she is one of the best sharpshooters that we have if you're running a ranged party. If you're not, then she is a little worse, but she's still not that bad. So overall, if you want to pull for Opera, I would say go for it. But she is permanent, so summer is coming up. Keep that in mind. And then moving on to Dark Albel, his first talent increases attack by 45%, by 50% when the hit count is at 50 hits or more, and 55% at 100 hits or more for the entire party. His second talent gives everybody an additional hit that deals 20% of damage during normal attacks and increases the hit counter by 1 second. His third talent gives him 15% life steal at 50 hits or more, and his last talent increases the damage that he does with Luna Slash by 100% while he's charge assaulting. And then his Rush Demon Cleave has a 4000% multiplier, and it also reduces his AP cost by 40% and the enemy's defense by 30% for 20 seconds. And then his attack Storm Cleave, that one is actually really cool, but it's kind of worse than Luna Slash. Unbridled Air Slash, the normal Air Slash, but it actually has a good multiplier. Discord Claw, very fast like Arngrim's Back Knuckle, and the Luna Slash, his main damage attack. He's got an attack stat of 2700, which is, that's normal for attack buffers. It's kind of on the low end though. But he has a 2000 defense stat, which is actually really cool, but kind of a low HP stat. So to start with, he's actually a very good attack buffer. He has a flat 45% attack buff, which is higher than 2B's normal one, and it goes up to 55% at 100 hits, which I think that's the exact same as Were Millie. And 100 hits is not difficult to get, especially not when you factor in his second talent, which gives you an additional hit, so that's used for building hit counts, and I think he might be the only one that has that talent. I think there's somebody else that also does that, but I can't remember who. And then of course hit counter plus 1 second, that also helps you increase the hit count even more. He also has a life steal, which is good, means he doesn't have to run the Randall, and it's at 50 hits, easy to get. And then he has a talent similar to Arngrim's Dead End. If he charges all the Luna Slash damage, gets basically doubled, which is similar to Dead End, except Luna Slash is not quite as overpowered. But he also has that Unbridled Air Slash, which also has a 360% attack stat, and apparently that's also a very good attack, and it's ranged too. So Dark Albel, he's actually very mobile for a greatsword user. He's got some fast attacks and, of course, that ranged attack, so he is actually really freaking cool, and he would work in a lot of different parties. He's actually the type of character that I've been looking for. I'm not going to pull for him, though, because, he is permanent, but these both of these are very good, and it looks like we're finally getting some really good permanent characters, so that's very good to hear. Alright, we're back with the gacha. Time to pull Red Moon Thunderblade. Oh boy, I did the guaranteed pull for the, the Bahamut, and I didn't get it. So, let's hope. Let's hope and pray. Let's wait and hope. I think I have enough weapon slots. Oh, 2 5-stars, huh? Is this going to be 2 Red Moon Thunderblades, or, oh, first one. Ha! Yes! Okay, good. I finally have a good greatsword. Oh man, you don't know how good that feels. That's my first good one. The first good one. No longer will I have to run Durando. Oh man, that's amazing. And there's gonna be another one with Summer. So hopefully, if I can pull Summer Maria, I almost said Miria. If I can pull Summer Maria, I actually have some stuff for her to use now. Amazing. But now there's still one more weapon left. I'd be fine with the rifle too. I'm not really planning on pulling for any rifle users, especially not because we're most likely not getting Resonance of Fate, so I'm not getting that swimsuit Leanne. Ah, damn it! It's the tome, and it froze. Okay, well, I hope that's saved, because if it didn't, I'm gonna be pissed. I'm pretty sure it's saved, but well, I guess I'll have to end that video right here. Oh yeah, one more thing about Opera. I forgot to say this during her section, but apparently she has an attack that can crash the game. If you use her gravity bullet, the game crashes. So, well, I guess that's it for me. So I'll be signing out. Peace.